Hello, today we're gonna do an offline water review and we're gonna focus on Sigma. What I really would like to focus on is gonna be awareness, but it's also just knowing when do you do stuff based on the enemy aggression. That is what I like to call punishing the spikes of the pressure, what the enemy does. Just one of the most important fundamentals is always looking to anticipate the enemy aggression. Try to think about what are the big cooldowns which can punish you or your team in general. Because you know those, then you will be ready to punish the enemy with your shield, or you can also punish them with the rock. Because I feel like even though a lot of the times have been pretty effective during the fights, a lot of the times our enemies are punishing you because we forgetting about the certain cooldown, or maybe we start paying attention to something else with tunnel vision on somebody else, and that's why the enemy is punishing you for that. That's usual rotation, start walks with the main here, and we are going for the pressure. I think this is quite okay resource management here, trying to sneak in a little bit of the shields at the start of the fight if a lot of the damage comes in. Not bad idea. Now we're looking for the pressure, and once we're looking at this here, we always have to understand what are the big cooldowns we're going to be aware of. Maybe it's going to be Surgeon's Rail, something we can block. Maybe there's going to be Rodok's Hook, something we can also block with the shield. Maybe there's going to be the Mizuki Stun, we can also punish that, or Cassidy Grenade. So once you get in the game, you always have to look to play around those cooldowns, what your strategy is going to be looking forward. And obviously some of the players would say your reaction should be better, you can try to shield here right away, but in my experience it's not about reacting for the most part. It's more about anticipating the stuff that this guy will try to punish you because you've been shooting him. So you should be ready to either hook or shield, and you just need to come up with what's easier and cheaper cooldown to start with, because whenever the enemy does something, this is going to be the spike of the pressure, because if they hit the cooldown, then this may result in you guys using certain abilities. There's a high chance he will hook you in the pit here, so there's a spike of pressure we can punish, and we're trying to punish it with cheaper stuff if possible. And what you can punish the enemy, it can come down to your cooldowns, but you can also be using cover. First of all, we're trying to shoot. I want you to come up with some sort of cover you play so you'll be not as exposed to every enemy here. That's number one thing. And another part is resources. You just have to be ready to do something. It's either gonna be your shield or gonna be your rock. Anyway, this here is mostly let's just be ready and shield that. We're getting punished for this here, which is fine. You guys start to regroup. That's not bad to make the rotation on the right here. I see we're pretty patient with the shield, which is nice because most of the players, they burn the shield before the fight starts, and this is always a good idea to try to preserve it for the actual fight. And keep walking. Yeah, maybe a little bit of shield can be sneaked. This here, exactly what you're looking for. As soon as there's a spike of pressure, this guy may be trying to hook you or your teammate, you can be ready to shield. Now, let's talk about your rock a little bit. So there are two ways of thinking about your resources in general. So one thing is you're punishing enemy aggression, and enemy aggression can be based on multiple triggers. It can maybe based on if they're using cooldown or not. It can be based on their position. It can also be based on if they're using certain ultimate. That's number one, usage of the rock. So you negating the pressure from the enemy team. For example, Winston jumps in, or there is someone like Kenji commits the dash and he's out of position. Maybe not bad idea to try to rock him if you're in a position to do, if you're relatively close as well. You're looking for the cooldown straight initially, so that's always good idea to try to punish the enemy aggression. And second layer is try to fish for kills, and kills are mostly just based on the enemy HP, if they use a bunch of resources. So always looking at the intention. If we're looking for the rock, the question is going to be a good rock in terms of punishing the enemy aggression, or you're really looking for the kill right now. That's a pretty big deal. So you see that if you know this guy goes in here, you have to track his defensive cooldowns, most of it. Yeah, if you're looking for the kills, you cannot use the rock if they have defensive. So this is one thing. And the second, are they really aggressive right now? Not as much, but they still have defensive. So what do? You just use your primary fight, just wait for the bad opportunity. Because the rock trading with the Mizuki shift, it's not as good, because simply by looking at how long it lasts, the rock is going to be on the cooldown more compared to the shift. So looking to punish someone else, just whoever is going to be aggressive later, like this hog, or maybe there's going to be somebody who is out of position, is going to be better. Anyway, you keep the pressure up, which works quite okay. We took the side lane, which I really like initially. I also see you trying to sneak in a little bit of HP before the fight, which is good. Now, early pressure, that's perfect. Make sure that you have most of your shield for the fight, though. Don't just flick it all the time. This is what I mean. You have to be aware of the stuff like this. Maybe you cannot shield everything, but at least we have to be ready and try to anticipate where the enemies might be and where they will be doing their spike of pressure, so you'll be ready to punish them with the rock or the shield, depending on what's easier. Shield can work, but you have to be really accurate, sort of place it between your teammate where they will end up, and this hog here, not the most reliable thing. Maybe it's okay for you to start throwing the rock as soon as you see the hook's animation. But to be able to do that, you have to build awareness. We'll always have to track and say, okay, where the hog is, where they're looking at, and as soon as you see the hook animation, you can try to throw the rock at him. So this will cancel it. Now you took the good position, which I like to, and this is much better. You see how this Genji here is actively committing. That is something what he can look to punish once he is going aggressive. They don't have their dash. It's on 3 seconds cooldown. They start walk line, but it's as soon as they get it, you already hit them with the rock, so that's quite nice. Positional commitment, both defensive sort of mobility cooldowns too, so not bad idea. We keep playing, and see, the second rock is not as good though, because this Genji is only committing with their position, so one check mark is there, but what about the second check mark? Is he committing the cooldown? You have to be aware of that. You can potentially punish their mobility with just casting the rock, and if you know where they end up, they can try to flick it. That's not a bad idea. You can use a fake rock. For example, you look at one person, and then you start flicking to the other person, but it's more advanced, and all of it should be done in anticipation that, okay, this guy's using something, so I will punish that. Potentially 2 check marks, positional and with the cooldown as well. They have to invest something before you use the rock. But you're trying to flick here, but you see, it can be cleaner. Because I'm not sure if we exactly know that where this guy is going to be. For example, here, what are we looking for? Is it going to be the kill rock or the rock which punishes aggression? If a punishing aggression, we really need a commitment from the enemy. They have to invest something, so we start to deny it, like Rodok's hook or the Genji's dash. But this Moira is just standing there. She still has shift, and the shift is around 6 seconds cooldown now, so it's not worth it. Just keep shooting. Once she will be using shift, then you can look for the kill rock, punish it. Now we're looking to play around this hog, and there are a few concerns. First of all, the shield is pretty low, so you have to be really careful with moving to these positions here. I believe if you really like to shoot this guy, sure, go for it, but then do it from the other position. Or if you want to commit to the backline, then go over here. Now we're exposed to too many things, and you just been the same as in the first fight. You need to try to force stuff from the enemy with cheaper stuff, and the cover is really cheap. It's your first resource. It's never breaking. Even though we try to play around the shield is breaking, and we exposed to 2 angles here, so it's not going to be as reliable. You're going to get punished for everything. This is our first round so far. Cover. I'm going to say minimize the angles you deal with, and that's why I want you to pay attention to that second fight, where you actually walked in the right side. You can keep going, dealing with one angle at a time, constantly. Choose your fights. If you want to go deeper, or I can go here, that's really nice, but as soon as you walk to here, there a lot of the times is going to be concerning. You maybe can use the left side, maybe you can start rotating to the right later, but if you just keep standing here, there's more chance for you to get punished. You feel more pressured mentally, and that's why you will be hooked in the well here, because you have to be aware of so many things. The guys on the left, this guy here, and there's also someone else. Let's go forward to our second round. Here, what we can do against this hog. You not necessarily have to shield here if you play against this angle, because you're only exposing one angle at a time. What are we committing to? Are we committing to this guy or this guy? If this, then remove the shield and be ready to negate the hook. Or if you commit into this, then you can be walking towards this space and don't look at this guy too much. I would still say probably it's worth it to look up the hog, maybe try to punish him. I think shield here is pretty easy to use and punish this guy if he's going that aggressive, and then after that you can deal with another aggressive angle, this Genji here. See what he's investing deflag, so something we can think about. And you're trying to rock after it, but you just have to do it early. And I really don't want you to be thinking that I have to protect my team from everything. No, it's more about you taking more aggressive positions, and because you're able to deny the enemy aggression while you're taking aggressive positions, then it's really good. And ideally, I want you to grab the enemy's attention when you're being proactive. Don't sit with your team. If we summarize the punishing the enemy activity spikes of pressure, and activities based on the cooldowns, ultimates, and the position of the enemy, I mostly want you to start creating the habit of tracking the big cooldowns, so ultimates. Just start tracking 1-2 big things, and make sure that you also track the enemy position. You can start with tracking 1-2 characters position. The preference, if you ever don't know what to pay attention to, is going to be off angles. Anyone who takes the positions away from their core, like that hog example on our first push over here, when he was right there, he is taking an off angle because the rest of his core is here. He's trying to just look for another angle. That is something what we can keep an eye on. If there's no one taking off angle, then punish more frontline person. And with your resources, you just gotta be ready and punish enemy aggression. Look for enemy commitment based on triggers and punish it. Deny the most aggressive angle. And another use of rock, you're looking for the kills. Look at the HP of the targets, look at their defensive cooldowns if they invested a lot of stuff, but always remember that your first idea is you coming up with the good position, with the good cover, and you keep forcing the enemy to use something with your primary fire, and then after that they invest cooldowns, and you can invest your own cooldowns too.